Hey, welcome to the course. A quick summary on what you're going to learn. It is simpler than you think. So, you're going to learn a simplified approach to mixing audio. You're going to learn how to create great mixes using only Logic stock plugins. In my opinion, Logic has the best stock plugin collection. And I'm going to show you a few techniques to speed up your workflow. You're also going to learn how to master tools like EQ, compressors, reverb, delay, and auto-tune. And lastly, you're going to learn how to master your music for digital release. To make things easy for you to follow along, I will start with showing you setting up your project for success, mixing your kick and bass for heavy but clear low end. We'll be using techniques like side chaining, saturation, all that good stuff. And we're going to go to the mixing drum section. We'll be focusing on mixing drums and percussions, and then we're going to process our keyboard sounds, your synthesizers and pads, and we move on to creating clear and present vocal tracks. The only thing I'm asking from you is to keep practicing what I show you. As this quote says, the key to success is action, and the essential in action is perseverance. So please be patient with yourself, practice what I show you here, and you will soon reach your desired skill level. So without wasting any more of your time, let's get to work. Welcome to the first lecture. Before we do anything fancy, we're going to start with importing and organizing our project for a smooth mixing process. Okay, let's go ahead and open Logic Pro. So the first thing you're going to see, it's asking you what type of project template are you going for. We're going to go with the audio, hit create. Now we have a blank project. Obviously, you know, these are your transport panels, your player, your record, and everything. To create more room, we're gonna hit I to switch off the inspector, okay? This is where you can make adjustments while you're in the editing window to your effects, your panning, all that stuff. But we don't need that right now. We're gonna hit I to switch off the inspector. So over here, you have your browser option to import your file. Okay, you can go straight to your desktop, go where my stems are, but I'm going to show you how I do it, which is way faster. Go straight to my folders. As you can see, we have the project with the project BPM and the song key. So I'm going to tell you why we need those details. As you can see over here, it's already organized. The instrumental folder with the drums, keyboards, the vocals, with the vocal wave files. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to import these wave files to the project real quick. Drums, let's drag and drop to the edit window. Okay, it's going to ask you create new tracks, use existing tracks. I'm going to hit create new tracks, hit OK. Now we have new tracks. Now we're going to go ahead and delete the empty track. Delete track. Okay, before we add the keyboards and vocals, first we're going to organize the drums. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to hit the first sound and go straight to the last one. Do not click until you hit shift hold, left click. Now we selected all the drums. Okay, now we're going to group the drums so that we have a bass track that we can use to maybe bass compress, which is affecting all the drums at once. Okay, so one, this will help with organizing the project. Two, this will help if we want to turn down or make an adjustment to the whole drum track. Okay, release shift, hit right click while everything is selected, and you're going to go to create track stack. Okay, left click on create track stack. It's going to ask you, do you want a folder stack? A folder stack will allow you to push up and down the fader or pen. And you have the summing stack. The summing stack, it shows you over here, a multi-purpose track stack that mixes its sub-tracks and can be saved as a patch. Okay, so this one, we can use it as a bass track, okay, instead of a folder, just to organize it. Okay, so we're going to select the summing stack, hit create, boom. Okay, let's go ahead real quick and say drum bass. Okay, let's hit this arrow over here, hit it again, Okay, so now you can switch on and close just to make more room. Let's say if you want to make an adjustment to your vocals, you can just close this drum bus and open it again to make adjustments to these tracks. Okay, the next thing we're going to do, we're gonna select everything, which is click the first track and go straight to the last one. Hold shift and left click to select everything. We're going to right click and assign track color. Okay, now it's time to color code these sounds. Okay, so we're gonna, for drums, I want a darker color, so I'm gonna go with this color. Great stuff. As you can see, the wave tracks haven't changed. So to make sure that everything looks the same, we're gonna just left click, drag, highlight the wave tracks, right click on the menu, color regions by tracks, color regions by tracks, left click. Now everything looks purple. Okay, let's close that group and then go back to the folder. Let's import the keyboards now. Okay, let's put the keyboards, that's your pads, that's your synthesizers. Let's hit create new tracks like we did the last time. Let's select the first track, go to the last one, hold shift, left click, select everything, right click, create track stack. We're gonna select summing. Okay, folder, a basic track that lets you mute, solo, and control volume from the main track. Like I said, select this option to organize your tracks. The summing, multi-purpose track stack that mixes its sub tracks. So this is the one we're going for. Okay, it's a group to organize, but it gives us more functions. Okay, so let's say create. Great stuff. Let's go ahead and rename it real quick. Let's say keyboards. Boom. All right, great. Now the track is selected. We just go to the last one. Just hover over the mouse to the last track. Hold shift. Select everything. Okay, right click for your menu. Assign track color. Okay, for the keyboards, let's go with something like let's do green. All right, green looks good. Great. And then, as you can see, nothing has changed with the wave tracks. We're just gonna right click on them, color regions by tracks. Okay, color synchronized. Let's close that one up and let's go back to the folder, drag in the vocals. Boom, create new tracks. Okay, you know the drill by now. Select all these tracks, shift. All right, create track stack. We're going to select summing and we're going to say vocals or vocal bus. All right, great. Select everything, you know the drill. Shift, right click. Make sure you let go of the shift before you right click. Okay, assign track color. Okay, I think let's do pink for the vocals. Great, I like pink for the vocals. The wave files, you know the drill. Right click, color regions by tracks. Okay, let's close that one up. Looking good. Okay, let's take it a bit further. Right click, assign track icon. For the vocals, let's select the mic. For the keyboards, assign track icon. Something that shows MIDI, voodoo, or keys. Which one do you prefer? Okay, I prefer this one. Which one do I like? I like this one. Great. Drum bus, right click. Okay. Assign track color. Drums. As you can see over here, percussions. Right, we're gonna go to drums. Select one you like. All right, I'm gonna hit the drum machine. All right, cool. This is the project. All right, so you just hit this arrow to open the group up. hit it again to close it. Okay, check this out. Our project is colorful, looking good and everything, but that's not the whole purpose. The purpose is to organize the project so that when you're mixing, you are focusing on mixing. Everything is already organized and color coded. Okay, you know, when you're looking at pink, that's your vocals. When you're looking at green, that's your keyboards. All right, simplify, simplify, simplify. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do now, we're going to set the project tempo. Okay, so looking at the folder here, it's already written, it's 100 beats per minute. Why do we do that? It's to make sure that the time effects are in sync. Okay, by time effects I mean reverbs and delays. All right, cool. So we're going to set from 120 to 100 beats per minute. Okay, the second thing we're going to change will be the key of the project. All right, cool. As you can see here, it's B minor, which is B flat minor. We're gonna go straight to the key, going for B flat minor. Boom. Why are we doing that? Just in case, but obviously we're gonna need it in this project. But always make it a habit to set the key of the project so that when you get to a point whereby you need to improve the vocal performance with the pitch correction effect plugin, you can just look at your transport window and see, okay, that's the key, set the key, and you're ready to go a bit step further, and this is the last step. Okay, so now we're gonna add markers, project markers, just so we know where we are in the project. So we're gonna hit this button over here, global tracks, show hide global tracks. Boom. Okay, as you can see over here, shows your tempo, your signature, and everything here, but we don't need those. So I'm gonna right click, switch off the tempo, right click, signature off, right click, switch off the arrangement. I'm only gonna use the markers. So I'm gonna hit create marker by hitting this plus icon, double click. This is our intro. All right, cool. That's our intro. We go straight to the hook. This is the hook. Great. We're gonna hit plus icon, double click to rename hook. Boom. Okay, let's go straight to the verse, which is 25 beats. That's the verse. Hit plus, and that's our verse. Okay, let's move over to the last hook. Great. Let's do the same thing. You know the drill by now. Double click to rename hook. That's the last hook. Okay. Okay, it looks like this is an extended version with 2 extra bars. Okay, as you can see, the vocal tracks and around 81, 82, and the beat still continues. That's not a biggie. We're just gonna chop off the extra bars. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go over here, select the keyboards and the drums, chop them off. Okay, as soon as you see this pop up, just left click, hold, drag until bar 81. That's where it's supposed to go off. Let's play in here.
I get the bag, I deserve it. That's for my bro, he deserve it. I charge a fee for the service. That president, he deserve it.
And then we're gonna go to the left click tool, select fade tool, go to the command click tool, select fade tool. Okay, so while the keyboards and drums are selected, we're just gonna go over here, hover over it. As soon as you see this pop up, left click, hold, and just fade the first one, just a smooth fade. Boom, and it applies it to all the selected tracks. Let's play.
I get the bag, I deserve it. That's for my bro, he deserve it. I charge a fee for the service. That president, he deserve it.
Nice. Don't forget to hit Command S to save. Command S, and this will pop up. Project name. Blessings. Here you can decide if you want to organize the project as a package or folder. I prefer the folder option. Here you can select which files you want to include in your project folder. So copy the following files into your project: audio files, sample audio, alchemy audio, ultrabit audio, space designer, impulse responses, movie file. I don't have a movie file. Include Apple Sound Library content just in case you had those. I'm just going to leave it on and hit save, and your project is safe. See you in the next lecture. Welcome back. In this lecture, we're going to start creating send/aux tracks, okay? And I will also be showing you how to route tracks. So let's go ahead and view our mixture. Before we do that, let's loop the last hook. Okay, let's just loop the last hook, which is the loudest part of the song.
Roll the blessings. Yeah.
Great. Okay. Command save to save your progress. So now it's time to go straight to the mixer. We're using Command 2. Okay. And that's your mixer. Boom. Okay. As you can see over here, everything is still color coded. Dark color, that's your drums. And these are your keyboards. Over here, you have your vocal tracks. That's your drum bass, that's your keyboard bass, that's your vocal bass. Okay, so now it's time to create send tracks. We're gonna need these later, but I want to make sure that we have them set already. Okay, the first way to create send tracks, you go straight to options over here, create new auxiliary channel strip. That is the first option. My favorite is simply going to the send. All right, let's say sends. Just select the ambition snare, hit send, select an empty bass, let's say bass 4. Great. Automatically it creates an empty track. Okay, so bass 4, we're gonna rename it to reverb. Reverb. Okay, so whenever you go to send, hit bass, now you can see that bass 4 is assigned as input to the reverb aux track. Okay, we're going to create another aux track. Let's remove this one. Okay, we can remove this send by saying no send on this track. Hit send again. Bass 5, empty bass. By selecting the empty bass, it automatically creates an aux track. Boom. Right? Got another one. Let's switch this one off again. No send. And that will be the delay. Let's say a slow delay, which is a half delay. Great. And let's create another send track using the first option I showed you. Create new auxiliary track. Boom. You got an empty track over there. We're going to say delay. Let's make it a fast delay, which is a quarter delay. Great. And that's the first option. Okay. As you can see, by default, it's set to input 1. All right. I'm pretty sure input 1 is occupied right now. So let's select an empty bass as input. We're going to select bass 6 as input to this one. So whenever we go to send to any track, bass 6 will be the quarter delay, bass 5 will be the half delay, and bass 4 will be the reverb. Okay, let's color code these. Select the first track, go to the last one, hold shift, left click, right click, assign channel strip color. Okay, which color do you prefer for the send tracks? Let's select strong yellow. Right, I like that. Great stuff.
Roll the blessings. Yeah.
Okay, as you can see, nothing is going on over there. Okay, if we want to send a signal to one of those tracks, we just go to Sans. As you can see over here, there's a Sans, that's your audio effects, and that's your output. Okay, we just go to audio effects. Sorry, we just go to Sans, basses. Let's say I want to add reverb to this track. We're gonna hit send to reverb. Okay, listen to it. As you can see, nothing is going on here. Okay, we have a parameter over here, tiny knob. You just push that one up to send signal.
Roll the blessings, they never stop. Roll the blessings, they never stop.
Alright, cool. No signal yet.
Roll the blessings, they never stop. Go and get it. That shit yours.
Alright, let's use this track as an example. Send. Let's send to reverb. Alright.
Roll the blessings.
As you can see, nothing is going on over here. We're gonna use this parameter, this tiny knob over here, to send a signal. Let's push it up.
Roll the blessings.
As you can see, now it's picking up signal, but you don't hear any reverb because it's just an empty aux track. We haven't added an effect yet. We have to add a reverb to this aux track so that when we send signal to this aux track, we hear a reverb signal. Okay, but we will get to that later in the mix. Okay, and that is how you route tracks in Logic Pro. Don't forget to control save your progress. In the next lecture, we're gonna start doing the real work, which is balancing, leveling, and penning, so that we have a clear mix, and then we'll move on to adding cool effects to make this a punchy, present, and consistent mix. Okay, and that's it for this one. See you in the next lecture. Welcome back. In this lecture, we're going to start panning and adjusting levels. Okay, why are we doing this before adding EQs? Because we want to make it easy to listen to the mix without adding anything. Okay, so that when we start applying effects, we are improving the mix. We're not trying to control volume using plugins. We are enhancing the mix. Okay, right now we're gonna focus on adjusting the levels, panning, making sure the mix sounds decent without any effects. Okay, so let's go ahead and select from the beginning to the end. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna hit Command 2 for the mixer, hit play, and adjust while we are listening to the song. Let's play. Okay, turn down the keyboards. Okay. All right.
Roll the blessings, they never stop. Go and get it, that shit yours. I'm fresh to death, that shit for sure. I take the package, and then I go. I get the bag, I deserve it. That's for my bro, we deserve it. I charge a fee for the service.
Okay, let's turn this backings to the left.
I get the bag, I deserve it.
This one to the right.
Bro, we deserve it. I charge a fee for the service. That president, he deserve it. All my homies rockin' street made. I let him talk and watch that shit fade. It doesn't matter if we still paid. I does it better off the still pain. It's crazy how I never feel sane.
Okay, real quick, let's go back to the edit window. Okay, I just want to make one tiny adjustment. I want this main hook to be the first, right before the backing vocals. Okay, just for control, I want the kick to be the first track on my drums. Okay, the snare is fine over there. Okay, I want to change the sub bass color, and you will see why later. Okay, I want to make it the same color as my drums. Great. Let's go back to the mixer track. Continue making adjustments. So we are panning just to fill up the stereo field so that the mix doesn't sound dead center. It's interesting to the listener. Okay. So let's play again. Another thing we can print is to have different bass colors. Okay. Let's make the basses, let's make them red, all of them. Okay, let's make them red so that we know these are bass tracks. Red. Okay, we'll go bass. Soundtrack color, we're gonna make it red. Okay, so that we don't accidentally adjust levels on the bass tracks. Okay, Command 2 to show the mixer. Let's mix it out. Let's play.
Bro, the blessings, they never stop. Go and get it.
Right, where is that effect? It's this one, right? The down filler. Down filler. It's this one. Let's turn it down.
Bro, the blessings, they never stop. Go and get it. If that shit yours, I'm fresh to death. That shit for sure. I take the package.
Command save to save your progress.
I get the bag, I deserve it. That's for my bro, he deserve it. I charge a fee for the service. That president, I deserve it, yeah. I get the bag, I deserve it. That's for my bro, he deserve it. I charge a fee for the service. That president, he deserve it, yeah. All my homies rockin' street made. I let him talk and watch that shit fade. It doesn't matter if we still pay. I does it better off the still pain. It's crazy how I never feel sane. I pass the homies like it's prepaid. The realest homies know the
Push this to the right.
I'm the new drug, I feel
Open
like
heads.
Lil Wayne. See me and my nigga Central. We be some dangerous guys. If we talking record labels, they want me dead or
Let's turn this one down.
you don't belong on my side. Young legend in the making. You rappers got nowhere to hide. I gotta get all of my brothers a strap. I wanna put all of my hoods on the map. It's hard to focus in the car, see my mans. This motherfucker's trying to get me off track. My boys in there, we go smile to the bank. Mandela faces put a smile on my face. My girl's freaky, let me hit from the back. And it's a blessing if you let me do that. Bro, the blessings. They never stop.
Turn it down a little bit.
I'm fresh to death. That shit for sure.
Let's push it to the left just a little bit. Play.
And I go. I get the bag, I deserve it. That's for my bro, he deserve it. I charge a fee for the service. That president, I deserve it. Yeah. I get the bag, I deserve it. That's for my bro, he deserve it. I charge a fee for the service. That president, he deserve it. Yeah. Bro, the blessings, they never stop. Go and get it. If that shit yours.
Now we have decent levels. Hit Command S to save your progress. Okay, my approach to mixing is simple. I start with the foundation. For example, this is a popish, R&B, hip-hop-ish track. Okay, so the kick and the bass is the heart of the song. Not forgetting the vocals. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to start with processing the kick and bass, making sure they work well together, and then we work our way up from there. Okay, so in the next lecture we're going to start applying techniques like saturation to your kick and bass, side chaining those so that they work well together. And that's it for this lecture. Don't forget to save. I will see you in the next lecture. Welcome back. In this lecture, we're going to start processing the low end, which is the bass section of this song. Okay, so let's remove the mixer. Look for the loudest part in this track. All right, let's adjust the loop.
Roll the blessings, they never stop. Go and get.
Great. Now we have the bass and kick. All right, cool. Let's open the mixer. Command 2. Mix it out.
Roll the blessings.
All right, our main focus now is the kick and the bass. All right, before we blend the two, let's start with the kick. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to throw in an EQ. Okay, so that we can find the sweet spot of that kick, boost it so that it shines, and then we can go to the next step. Let's play. All right, that frequency is more in sync with the song key first, and that's where the sweet spot is. Okay, so we're gonna use these parameters over here to turn down that boost. This one can be messy because we're using our mouse, so we're gonna turn down this dB. Let's do something like 3 dB. Let's play. All right, without the boost, switch it off. Let's switch on the boost. All right, and that is 54.0 hertz. Okay, we're gonna go straight to the bass. Okay, throw in an EQ. Or a faster way is to hit the EQ tab. Okay, as you can see, every track has that one. You just hit and the channel EQ pops up. Okay, so over here we're gonna dip that 54 hertz. Okay, just 3 dB. Narrow the band. Okay, 2 fingers on the trackpad, scroll up and push up and down. Okay, to adjust the band. All right, something like that. Sounds good. All right, great stuff. Okay, so let me do a quick intro to the EQ. Okay, so the whole purpose of the EQ is to cut and boost frequencies. All right, cool. So basically from the left hand side, these are your low frequencies up to 200, 250. That's your low frequencies, low mid frequencies. That's your bass sounds. That's the low end of your voice. And from 250 to 6K upwards, that's your vocals, your toms, all the mid-range sounds. The top end, that's where your sharp S's, your hi-hats are over here. Okay, so by turning this shelf down, chopping off the top end of the track, by boosting it, highlighting it, increasing the volume to add brightness. Okay, depending on the situation. hold Option, double click to set to default. Okay, great. Over here you have your bell options. These you can use to boost a specific frequency or cut a specific frequency. Okay, you're going to use two fingers on your trackpad or the scroll button on your mouse to adjust the amount of frequencies, which is adjusting the Q, the amount of frequencies affected by this cut or boost. All right, cool. These are your bell options. Switch it off, switch it on, switch it off, switch it on, or switch it off, switch it on. And that's your shelf. Okay, as you can see, the shelf just cuts everything from the point you selected. Okay, so if I select 2K, it cuts or boosts everything from 2K. The bell nudges focus on the specific frequency or selected frequencies. Okay, from the left and right, like I said, this is the low frequency. So over here you can see that's your low cut, which is a high pass filter. High pass filter simply means we're letting go of the high frequencies they can pass, which is they can play through the speakers, and we're chopping off the low end. Okay, by switching it on, as you can see over here, there is a cut 2. So we can cut from the left hand side to remove the low end. All right, cool. Let's listen to this sound. All right. Okay. Switch it off. Okay, now let's hear the low pass 2. Remember, the high pass, we're chopping off from the left hand side, which is we're cutting at the low end and letting the high frequencies pass. And at the low pass, we are cutting the top end and letting the low frequencies pass. Okay, from the right side. Okay, as you can see, the icon also shows that. Left click to enable it, and that's your low pass 2. Okay, let's do this. Play. And that is your low pass. Okay, as you can see over here, you have your frequency analyzer, which is what I recommend if you're new to mixing. Okay, it shows you where the dominant frequencies are. Okay, but I prefer you trust your ear. Okay, use this as a secondary confirmation or a secondary tool. For example, let's play. Okay. Okay, so looking at it, it seems like from 500 upwards there's nothing on, but check this out. Let's chop off the low end. Let's play. There's definitely something going on there. Okay, so use your ears more, but use the frequency analyzer to assist, especially if you're new to mixing. So this is where you switch it off. This is where you switch on the analyzer. Great, here you can find presets. You can play around with guitar presets, horns, voice, mastering, all that good stuff. Okay, great. All right, and that is how you use the EQ. Okay, so for every plugin we insert in the mixer, I will break it down how it works. All right, so that you can be able to apply it to achieve whatever result you're going for. All right, cool. So the reason we boosted this frequency was to highlight the shine of the kick, because the kick is the heart of this song, especially in this type of genre. Okay, and then we went straight to the bass. Okay, and why we did that, it's because the bass and the kick share the same space. It's very important that if I boost that frequency, I remove some of that frequency from the bass. Okay, even though the dominant frequency of the bass is not there, but I want to make sure that my kick is dominating and driving the groove of the song, and the bass is more of an assistant and filler of the mix. Okay, all right, cool. Let's play. All right, now that we got that out of the way, we're gonna switch off the bass. Okay, I do feel like we can add some saturation. The purpose of saturation is to add more punch, more oomph to the sound. Okay, so we're gonna go to our effects. You can use transient shapers, distortions to add more punch to a drum or a vocal track. It depends on what you want to achieve. Okay, but in this case, we're gonna use the distortion. Okay, we're gonna go to distortion. All right, you know what a distortion is. When a signal is clipping, that bad signal you hear, that's the distortion. So they were able to turn that bad sound to an effect that you can use to add saturation to your sounds. Okay, that's why we have a distortion plugin. So we're gonna go to distortion. We're gonna use this one and hit stereo. Okay, great. This is the distortion. Okay, just by dropping it in, it already has settings. Okay, set up. Okay, over here there is a drive. The drive is the amount of distortion you want to apply on the track. With the drive set to 0. Okay, let's push it up. All right, cool, great. So the first thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to add a gain tool. Going to add a gain tool. We're going to go to utility, stereo, gain tool, and we're going to drag this. Okay, hold, drag. If it's on top of the plugin, it's going to replace that plugin. Let's push it up again until we see a line. Now the gain is the first plugin. Okay, right. The whole purpose of adding that gain plugin, I don't want to decrease my fader. I want to decrease the gain of this sound before the effects. All right, great. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna chop off, let's do something like 4 dB. Let's play. All right, great. Okay, that is to give myself more room to play around and enhance this kick. Okay, let's do something like -5. Okay, so this is controlling the gain before any effects. All right, let's play. So this way we have headroom to play. Let's switch on the distortion again. Let's go back to it. Let's remove the EQ. Let's play. As you can see, with the distortion on, the kick sounds a bit muffled. Reason why: this distortion plugin has an EQ knob. It's just one knob that is able to remove the top end or allow more top end, basically. Okay, so this is a low pass knob, basically. Okay, so for example, up to 20, there is no cutting. Okay, so let's go back to the EQ because I want you to have an image of what I'm talking about. Okay, from the left hand side, which is your low frequencies, you have 20 hertz. That's a super low frequency. And to the right side, we have 20k. 20 hertz, it's the beginning, which is the low end. From the left hand side, as we go up, we hit 20k. That is the top end of the frequency spectrum. Okay, so this knob is cutting from, basically, from the right side, which is it's chopping off the top end. Great, that's the whole purpose of the knob. Now back to the distortion. Let's play. Okay, the more I pull it back, the more I cut the top end. Okay, you can hear it. Great. Let's leave it at 1.5 and adjust the drive. Let's do something like 3 dB. Switch it off. Let's do 2 dB. I feel like that's too much. Switch it on. Okay, let's allow more top end. All right, I like it with more top end. Okay, so the drive just added some distortion, which is more attack, more punch to that kick. Let's switch it off, switch it on. Great. The output, let's just do -1 dB. Great. Welcome back. Now I can adjust the level of the kick. Let's do something like -4 dB. It's not the rule. I'm just adjusting, okay? Okay, I want my kick to sit around -12. While I'm playing, I'm looking at this level meter. -10, -12 dB. That's decent for my kick, okay? So let's switch off the effects. Switch them on. Okay, now the kick sounds way more punchy. Okay, let's go straight to the bass. Okay, what I'm going to do to this bass, I'm going to add a distortion plugin. Also, it's to add saturation. That's the whole purpose of this distortion. I'm going to select an overdrive distortion. Okay, let's play. This is a great distortion plugin for bass, 808s, sub basses like this one. Okay, so this has the same knobs. As you can see, the output, the drive, the tone. Okay, let's play. But it adds some rumble to the bass. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna chop off more top end from this bass. Okay, let's adjust the output. Let's do -2 dB. Alright, let's switch it off. Switch it on. All right, that bass sounds way more heavy, okay, than before. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do the same thing. I want to have a gain knob. Okay, so I'm gonna hold Option, hover over the gain plugin, left click, drag it. Okay, boom. Okay, hold, make sure it's the first plugin. Boom, first plugin. Let's do -4. Okay, and push up the fader. I'm using this gain tool to make sure that I'm not distorting, but I still have enough headroom. Okay, the last step we're going to do to this kick and bass, I'm going to introduce you to a concept called side chaining. Okay, so basically side chaining is a parallel processing technique where one signal track is controlling the amplitude of another signal track. Okay, for example, in this case, when the kick hits, I want my bass to dip in volume just a little bit to make room for that kick so that the listener hears a punchy kick, and I want that bass to go up in volume real quick after that kick signal goes off. Okay, so we're just gonna do a subtle side chaining, not like EDM tracks where like the bass is dipping heavily. Okay, so we're just gonna do it. We're just gonna do a little bit of side chaining so that we have space for the kick and bass on the low end. Okay, so first thing we're going to do, we're gonna go to the bass track, left click, and set a compressor, stereo compressor. Okay, as you can see over here, we have a compressor with all the compressor stuff. Okay, over here you have other settings and presets of the compressor modeling hardware compressors, but we're going to stick to the Platinum Digital. I'm going to switch this compressor to Sidechain. Instead of output, I'm going to switch it to Sidechain. All right. And then, as you can see over here, there is auto gain. We don't want anything on auto. Everything that's going on in our mix, we must be able to explain it. So we have to do everything ourselves. So switch off the auto gain, switch off the release. Perfect. Okay. The detection, leave it at max, leave it at RMS, leave the filter off. Okay. What I want to make sure the makeup gain is off. Great. The release, the attack, the knee. Okay. So before we do this technique, I want to explain real quick what is a compressor, just in case it's the first time you're seeing a compressor. Okay. So over here we have a threshold. A threshold is the point you set in the compressor. If the signal passes this threshold, it will be compressed. Over here you can see there is your ratio knob. The ratio, it's the amount of compression. Okay, if I set this ratio to 1, no matter how hard I can go with the threshold point, nothing is gonna go on. Everything is linked when it comes to compression. The ratio is the amount of compression. 3:1, that's okay compression, and 4:1, it's decent for vocals. The more you go up, the heavier the compression is. After 15, that's more like heavy compressing, you're limiting. Okay, great stuff. The makeup gain is, remember, okay, we set the threshold. When the signal hits that threshold point, the compressor will start compressing that signal. Okay, so you might be wondering, what does the compressor do? Basically, the compressor takes the loudest peak of the signal and turns them down a little bit, and takes the loudest sounds of that signal and lifts them up a little bit. So basically, it's to create consistency, but while we are compressing, we're losing some amplitude, we're losing some volume. Okay, so to make up for the volume we lose, let's say if we're compressing like -5 dB volume, and then we're gonna use the makeup gain to make up for the volume we lost while we were compressing, add maybe 4 or 5 dB based on the amount of dB you are removing from that signal. Okay, great. And over here you have a knee. That's how sharp or soft the compressor grabs the signal. That's your knee. Over here you have your attack. The attack is the speed of the compressor to act, okay, to attack that signal. Basically, a super fast attack. The minute that signal hits that threshold point, it's compressed. A bit slow compression, like 15, 20, it's decent for vocals. It grabs the signal real quick. That's a super fast attack. A slow attack, it takes time for the compressor to pick up the signal. It might not even pick up if it's a signal that goes off real quick. Okay, that's your attack. Over here you have your release. Like I said, everything works together. Okay, so the release, it's the amount of milliseconds it takes for the compressor to let go of the signal back to the original signal. Okay, so the compressor grabs the signal, compresses it, and the release tells it must hold it for how many milliseconds. Okay, for example, for vocals, I'll use something like 86 milliseconds, 110 milliseconds. Okay, a super fast release, you can hardly hear the compression because it's hardly holding the signal. That's how you use the compressor. Perfect. So what we're going to do, we're going to use the side chaining feature in this compressor. Okay, as you can see over here, that is your side chain. We're going to hit from internal. We're going to select audio, look for the kick track, which is audio 5, and hit kick. Cool. Okay, now let's play. All right, as you can see, the meter only moves when the kick hits because this compressor now is triggered by that kick track. Remember, you insert the compressor on the track you want too deep in volume. Okay, great. So let's play. All right, there's hardly anything going on because the threshold is still up. I doubt it's picking up any signal. Okay, but I want you to have an image of what I'm talking about. So we're going to switch it from graph to, we're going to switch it from meter to graph so that you see a visual representation of what we're doing. Okay, so let's play. Okay, as you can see over here, that is the kick signal. Okay. Okay, let's set the ratio to something like 4:1. For every 4 decibels, we are letting go 1. Okay, so let's play. Okay, so let's go crazy with the threshold. Let's push the ratio up a little bit more. I want you to hear this effect. Let's go down the threshold. Let's do -40 and play. Now you can hear that typical EDM dipping bass sidechain, but we're gonna try to be a bit gentler with this sidechaining because that's not the effect we're going for. Okay, so as you can see over here, we have decent enough attack. It's fast enough. Let's set it to 0. I want you to hear it. Okay, it's aggressive. Let's do 10 milliseconds. Let's do something like 20. It's a bit gentler when it comes to grabbing the signal. As you can see, the graph here shows. Okay, the knee, you can adjust the knee to adjust how sharp that compression grab is. Okay, as you can see over here, let me increase the threshold so you can see it. Check this out. That is a sharp knee, and that is the gentle knee. Okay, let's set it to 30, -30. Okay, let's demo the release knob. Let's do a super slow release. Okay, by pushing it up, that is a super slow release. Let's play. You see, it's taking time to let go of that signal. That's not what we want when it comes to sidechaining. Okay, I'm going to do something like 5 milliseconds, which is a super fast release. I want the space to dip in volume and go up real quick without the listener hearing what's going on. Let's play. All right, that's heavy. That's like -30. Let's do something like -10. Let's play. Sounds good. Let's switch off these plugins here before and after. That bass is kind of overpowering my kick. Okay, and there's no clarity. They just fighting for the same space. But let's switch this on. Now you can clearly hear the kick and you can clearly hear the bass without them clashing. Okay, and we're done with the low end sections, but you can make further adjustments to your liking. Remember to hit command save. That's it for this lecture. I will see you in the next one. Welcome back. In this lecture, we're going to start processing the percussion sounds. We're going to start with the EQ and some saturation, okay? Let's go ahead and loop only 49 to 65. So I'm going to hit Command 2 to open my mixer track, okay?
Roll the blessings.
I'm going to start soloing the ambition snare, throw in EQ, going to channel, EQ or EQs, channel EQ, okay? But the faster way, you just double click on this tab, which is EQ, and the channel EQ pops up, okay? So the first thing we're going to do, this is a percussion sound. Let's listen to it. All right, great. So obviously, there's not much going on in the low end because this is a mid-range sound, okay? But just to make sure, let's listen what's going on from from 20 to 180. Let's play. Okay, increase the volume. Okay. All right. There is some low frequency, some low mid frequency information over there. So I wanted you to hear that so that you can take it into consideration when you're making an adjustment. Okay. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to remove the low end, but I'm going to be gentle with it while I'm chopping off, listening to it. Okay. Because I don't want to take away the life and punch off it. Okay. Let's play. All right. Something around 139, that sounds good to me. Okay, I'm removing all the frequencies I don't need from the low end because I don't want anything competing or messing with my bass and kick. Okay, so let's play. All right, if you like, you can go crazy with the card. Something like 200 hertz will do also. Yes. All right, as you can see, this is a gentle curve. Okay, so it's not chopping all the information, so we're still getting some 100 150 hertz. All right, the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to sweep around the mid-range. This is to add more presence, give the sound more presence. So I'm going to boost and see which one we can get away with boosting. Play. All right, so to boost this knob right here, what we're gonna do, you just hold left click, boost up and down, to sweep around left and right. To narrow or widen the band, you use 2 fingers on the scroll pad, or scroll up and down if you're using a mouse. Okay, so let's play. Yep. All right, so the wider it gets, you already know that the more frequencies we are affecting, the narrower it is, the lesser the frequencies we are affecting. Okay. All right. All right. 620, let's just do a 2 dB cut. We can use this to turn down the dBs, but there is a more straight to the point way of adjusting the dBs, which is using these parameters over here. Let's turn it down, just do 2 dB. All right. All right, we can get away with removing some of the top end. So let's go ahead and enable the top cut, which is a low pass. So we're removing the top end and letting the low mids and the low frequency information to pass. Okay, so this is a low pass filter. All right, cool. All right, now you can hear the EQ. Okay, you can get away with that if you want to change the tone, but that's not what I want, so I'm gonna go easy with that high cut. Okay, all right, so don't get confused. The high cut, it's the same as the low pass. It means it's letting the low frequencies pass and removing the top end ones. Okay, great. Let's go to the next sound. Solo. Great. Let's bring in a challenge EQ. This one, I want to solo it. Remove the low end. Okay, enable the high pass filter, which is a low cut. Yep. Yep. I want to tame it a little bit more. So I want to remove the low mids a little bit. Yes, I want it to be sharp like that. So I'm going to sweep around and see if I can get away with boosting any mid frequencies. All right. Okay. 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 All right, now we're fine with that. It's fine as is. As you can hear, there is some reverb to this sample already, and it's right there in the top end. So I'm not going to mess around with this top end. It's going to help fill up the mix if I let it be, because trying to remove and chop off everything from a sample, it can lead to a thin sounding mix. Okay, so try to cut as necessary as you need to be, but don't go too crazy with it. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to add a distortion as saturation to this sound. Okay, so I'm going to add distortion. We're going to go to distortion, stereo. Okay, let's play the sound. Great. All right, on this distortion, remember we have a low pass filter. Okay, so we're gonna push it up because I don't want any filtering. Let's play. Yes, turn down the volume just a little bit. All right, turn down the drive, sorry. All right, great. That 1 dB drive works for me. Okay, so the reason we have this tone adjuster here, which is a low pass filter, when you add a distortion, it makes the sound more aggressive. So a low pass filter, which is a high cut filter, helps soften the sound a little bit. Okay, let's try to do a gentle low pass filter. Okay, right, let's leave it at 7K. Sounds good to me. Let's go ahead and add another sample. Great. Let's pull up an EQ. We're going to do the same thing. All right. I'm going to remove the top end also from this one. Play with the kick. Great. Okay, let's go ahead and add another sample, which is a crash. Okay, let's add all the samples. Turn down the volume of this Vox kick. Turn down the snare. Right, let's turn down this crash a little bit. Right, when it comes to hi-hats, I like to pan my hi-hats, some to the left, some to the right. Yep, right there. All right, and remember the distance between your two speakers, we call that a stereo field. So the more you use panning in your mix, the fuller your mixes will sound. Okay. All right, I don't like to add EQ to everything, but we're gonna do gentle low cuts to these sounds. Okay. All right. Okay, let's go ahead and add an EQ to this hi-hat. All right, I don't want to go too crazy. Great, it's fine with me. Let's add another EQ to this one. This is an open hat. Enable high pass filter. Great. For these not to compete, one is panned slightly to the right, one is panned slightly to the left. Let's turn down the volume just a little bit and play it with the drums. All right. Right, this is too loud. Let's turn it down a little bit. The runaway sub snare. Great. Turn down the ambition snare. Great. Okay, let's go ahead and see if there is any transition effects that we left out. Yep, we did. Command 2, the preview mixer. Let's turn it down a little bit. Yep. Yep. Okay, let's run an EQ over here. Just do a slight low cut. Right, and let it be. Let's look for the crash. Great. Command 2. Right, just low cut. Let's do a low cut over here. Right, turn down the volume. Just a little bit more. Great. All right, I like that, but you can always tweak things to your liking. So in the next lecture, we're going to start applying reverb and adding more excitement and life to these drum sounds. Okay, and that's it for this lecture. I will see you in the next one.